TotalTeamRoping.com.
You know, there's still guys out there that score horses the right way, that go work on their horse and score them in the practice pen and everything. But and it's real funny because this guy was really tearing into me on how I was messing up their scoring horses and everything. And he walked up there and he said, "I don't know why you're saying that." He said, "I've roped with you for years." And he said, "You back in the box in your practice pen, you run 6 in a row. When your horse gets silly, you score 2, and then you go back to going off the gate again." He said, "That's all these ropers are doing, just how y'all do in the practice pen."
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I've got to rope at several of the ropings, you know, the last couple of years, and as a header, man, it's awesome. It's so much fun. But, you know, on the same hand, very seldom do you ever have the opportunity just to go right with them. I mean, it's hard to make yourself as an open roper because you're so used to scoring, you know, and seeing the steer move. Well, I mean, you still need to see him move, but you go right behind him basically, and it is a lot of fun because you don't have to rely on your horse just standing dead still, you know, to see the start. It's a ton of fun.
Then I can speak for a regular
you could
header
probably,
out there.
You could probably be a header then.
Yeah, I could be a header.
You're
I
always
like to go with my
yourself
nod.
a header, but a World Series you would be a header.
I'd be a World Series header. If I could go with my nod.
Header.
Well, I am at home.
In your mind.
In my mind. But that's something right there, and I've made that comment to several people. When I go in head, I can jackpot head, but when I go rodeo head, it's very hard to score. So I don't care who it is, you have to work hard at it. Well, if you can go there and I can go, oh, now I can just go with them, I have a lot more fun. I have a lot more time to fish on their head and the whole thing. So, but leveling the playing field, that's what it's.
Well, and you both said it, and you got to recognize, I know where y'all came from, and your mindset tends to think a little bit differently, but my mindset has always been as a recreational producer. And the class of roper that rope with us, they obviously want to win money, but at the end of the day, if they don't, they need to go home and say, "I had fun. I didn't win no money, but I had fun." Yeah. And so we've got to try to take the pressure off and do everything we can, because I mean, he's a customer. We want him to come back, and the only way we can do that is if he goes back and he had a great experience with him, we're going to get him again.
That's the hugest thing I've seen, because I went to that roping that y'all did in Hamilton, and there was a bunch of teams there. And my kids and some other students I had was roping in it, so I was pretty much there over all 3 days. And never one time did I see anybody get outrun. Not once.
Well, that's the key.
You know, they all, and you might hear a broken barrier every 40 or 50 runs maybe. Not hardly ever would they break a barrier. And they've just made it more enjoyable. Nobody walked out the back going, "I hate this."
You know what's more fun than anything else is winning money too, and then World Series pay better than any roping has.
Percentages are big.
That's the neatest thing.
Big. The funny thing that we're running into though is a lot of the guys that have complained for years that the cattle were scored too tough for them. And they'll draw a real good steer and they'll get out perfect and they'll get at him at 30 feet out of the box, and over half of them will miss that steer because they're just not ready. They've never seen that before, the jackpot. They don't know what to do with it when they see it.
You know, the only thing that's kind of deceiving about the times are a little bit different. You know, the times are right. The times are a little bit longer. You know, so normally if you make a smoke and run, you know, you're easily, a 5-second run. You know, you'll be a 6-second. It seems like it's about, a second difference in the time.
It is about.
Well, the difference is a dead start versus a moving start, because both the eye at the front of the box and the eye in front of the horse, both animals are sitting dead still when they start, as opposed to a regular run where the steer's running at the eye and the head horse is running, and they're in full stride when they hit it. Yeah. That one full stride is worth about a second from what our maybe 7/10 to a second a run is what we think. That's my staff. We've debated this internally, and we think it's about a second.
Right. That's what it seems like. Yeah, I mean, it seems like, because you can go out there and even though that the steer's out there further when you start, but you can make a smoke and run. He's like, wow, that felt like a short 5, or very seldom do you see any 4s in those ropings.
Right. So when you have your roping, have you found, does it take more cattle, less cattle? Does it save cattle? It's the same.
Yeah. I don't see a whole lot of difference. A when we first started, the cattle contractors were saying to us that they thought that it was going to wreck their cattle a little bit more. But now they see where we're turning them at and everything, and it's not a whole heck of a lot different. And in fact, they're able to utilize more of their cattle, because if you've got hard running cattle, most of the time they're needing to be cutting them cattle off. But if those guys can start dead still, a horse and a running steer, and they can move with him, they can generally get to him a little easier than if he gets a run at them.
Yeah, that just answered my question when you said the hard running cattle. How many times you go to a roping and they want to cut the hard ones off? Well, now you got 10 heads sitting down there you don't ever use. It costs you $500-600 a piece. Well, that's a lot of money not being used. But if you get that start, you turn them all in the same area. So
well, it evens the cattle up
Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
I mean, the good ones are still going to, you're going to be have faster times on the slower cattle, but
I've noticed too, the heel horses have gotten a little better at those things, because you start the heel horse kind of with the same as the header, and the header gets a good start and you're a little bit late.
do you
You
feel
gotta
it's
catch it.
harder or easier to heel
I
in?
feel it's a little harder because it feels like you're catching up the whole time. So with different barriers, you can kind of get up there and kind of get ahead. It feels like you're just, as soon as you get to the steer's turn, so you're hustling the whole time trying to get there. So a faster horse, better horse helps out.
Well, that's not uniform. It's 50% of the time that way, because about half of the qualifiers out there, the contractor will move the heel box forward further than the head box, because the chute's out there, and he's trying to hold the heel horse at about a 16-foot box. Some of these old arenas, or those boxes, are set in concrete, and when they slide that steer out, the heelers have never had to face 22 or 24
Yeah.
feet on a deal. So you get one of them, you're right. You better be hustling.
Yeah.
That's what you're feeling.
Yep, I went to one of those. Yeah.
So probably, they need to pay attention when they're at that arena, whether that box is set up right.
Bring your
or not.
fast heel horse over there.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you being down here. Enjoyed this, and
I would have come even if you weren't here.
Well, thanks, Denny. I tell you, it's, over the years we've been involved with your, like the very first U.S. roping we went to now, and all team ropers had better look at you and thank you, because it was basically over
Yeah.
when it started, And I remember when the first one at Guthrie is a 1-day roping, wasn't it, or 2 days? It wasn't very
It
long,
wasn't very long.
and the roping paid 10 or 12,000. The Open did that year, and that was, I don't know,
1990.
was it 90?
1990.
Yeah. And then
Well,
from there-
and one of the things, how long ago has it been since you were going to have an open at the finals? I'm still bummed out at the open ropers. That I feel that the open roping should be right along with the the numbered roping, and that was a big disappointment, because I think that we missed a big opportunity there for an open roping during the national finals to pay the Denny guaranteed $50,000 to the open ropers. And how many teams did you get? 15 or 20, or maybe not even that.
I think we had 12 teams.
12 teams in. It's like, golly, come on, guys, 50,000.
exactly.
Well, the guys that make the NFR, that make them sign a contract saying they can't do anything.
Yeah,
else.
but
Yeah,
there's
but
a
what
whole
about
bunch of
those other
ones.
guys? My
Yeah.
goodness, what an opportunity. You got
I
the
know.
15
200.
best ropers in the world tied up where they can't go. It's like, where are you guys at? Come on, man.
Well, in the old days, they used to have that big open roping at Riverside, and it was one of the biggest open ropings in the country,
Sure.
because the
Right
top
during the
15
finals.
couldn't.
I went there one time. What are you doing here? Well, apparently I didn't have a very good year.
That's awesome.
So, if anybody wants to find out more information about the World Series, what do they go to? What website do they go to? And how can they get that information?
We keep our schedule and pretty much what's going on in Super Looper magazine and Spin to Win magazine, most of the trade publications in the country. But we keep a website there, wstroping.com, and they can get all the pertinent blow-by-blow stuff right
Everything
there.
they need right
Everything
there.
they need right there, if they own a computer.
Good. They can find out what they need here and get their lessons right here. And
There
we're all
we go.
covered.
That's good. They can
Total
just-
team roping.
They can have 2 tabs and get it done.
That's all. Right there.
TotalTeamRoping.com.